Imagine waking up every morning with better English while you were sleeping.
But does it really work? Let's find out the truth today.
Have you ever wished that you could improve your English even while you are sleeping? Imagine closing your eyes at night, relaxing after a long day, and waking up feeling more familiar with English words, expressions, and pronunciation. It almost sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Well, today we are going to explore what really happens when you listen to English before and during sleep, what science says about it, and how you can use this simple habit to support your English learning journey in a smart and effective way.
That's right, Emma. Many English learners search for phrases like learn English while sleeping because they hope there is an easier way to become fluent. The good news is that listening to English while you sleep can be a helpful part of your learning routine, especially for reviewing vocabulary, improving listening familiarity, and keeping English around you every day. However, it is important to remember that sleep listening works best when you also practice speaking, reading, and using English while you are awake. Today, we'll show you exactly how to combine both methods for the best results.
So, if you've ever wondered whether sleeping with English audio can actually help you, or if you're looking for a relaxing way to stay connected with English every single day, then this episode is exactly what you need. Stay with us until the end because we'll also share simple tips that can make your nightly English listening routine much more effective.
Welcome to Modern English Talk, the podcast where learning English becomes simple, practical, and enjoyable. So find a comfortable place, relax, and let's discover how you can make every night another opportunity to improve your English.
Alex, this is probably the biggest question on everyone's mind today. Can someone actually become fluent in English just by sleeping with English audio playing in the background? It sounds like an amazing idea because everyone wants to learn faster with less effort. But is it really possible? I think our listeners deserve an honest answer before they spend hours listening to English every night.
That's a great question, Emma, and the honest answer is no. You cannot become fluent in English simply by sleeping. Fluency comes from actively speaking, listening, reading, writing, and practicing the language in real-life situations. However, that doesn't mean sleep listening is useless. If you study English while you're awake and then listen to familiar English sentences or vocabulary before and during sleep, your brain may become more familiar with those sounds and expressions. Think of it as gentle review rather than learning completely new information. That's a great question, Emma, and the honest answer is no. You cannot become fluent in English simply by sleeping. Fluency comes from actively speaking, listening, reading, writing, and practicing the language in real-life situations. However, that doesn't mean sleep listening is useless. If you study English while you're awake and then listen to familiar English sentences or vocabulary before and during sleep, your brain may become more familiar with those sounds and expressions. Think of it as gentle review rather than learning completely new information.
I really like that explanation because it helps people have realistic expectations. Instead of believing in a magical shortcut, they can understand that sleep listening is a supporting habit. Just like eating healthy food supports your body or getting enough sleep supports your memory, listening to English can become another small habit that helps you stay connected with the language every single day.
Exactly. The most successful English learners don't look for shortcuts. They build smart daily habits. If you spend 20 or 30 minutes actively practicing English during the day and then relax with slow, clear English audio before sleeping, you're giving yourself extra exposure to the language. Over time, this repeated exposure can make English sound more natural, improve your listening confidence, and help you recognize common words and phrases more easily.
So, the real secret isn't learning English while you're asleep. The secret is combining active learning during the day with relaxed listening before and during sleep. When those two habits work together consistently, your English learning journey becomes smoother, more enjoyable, and much more effective.
Absolutely, Emma. Our brains love repetition. When you regularly listen to simple English conversations, common daily sentences, or basic vocabulary, your ears gradually become familiar with the sounds of the language. You begin to notice patterns, understand pronunciation more clearly, and recognize words much faster than before. This doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent exposure, English starts feeling less like a foreign language and more like something your brain naturally understands.
And that's an important point for our listeners. Don't worry if you don't understand every single word the first time you hear it. Learning a language is a gradual process. Every time you listen, your brain is becoming a little more comfortable with English. Small improvements may seem invisible from one day to the next, but after a few weeks of regular practice, you'll often be surprised by how much easier it becomes to follow conversations and recognize familiar expressions.
That's why I always recommend combining daytime practice with nighttime listening. During the day, read short passages, repeat sentences aloud, and practice speaking whenever you can. Then, before going to bed, listen to slow and clear English audio featuring vocabulary and sentences you've already studied. This combination reinforces what you've learned and keeps English present in your daily life without making your study routine feel stressful or overwhelming.
Exactly. Think of sleep listening as the final step in your daily English routine, not the only step. When you practice actively during the day and relax with English before sleeping, you're creating a consistent learning habit that is easy to maintain and much more effective over the long term. That's how real progress is made, through patience, repetition, and daily consistency. Now that we understand how sleep listening can support our English learning, the next question is very practical. What should we actually listen to before going to bed? Many learners make the mistake of choosing fast conversations, difficult grammar lessons, or advanced vocabulary that they have never heard before. Instead of feeling relaxed, they become confused and frustrated. So Alex, what type of English audio would you recommend for someone who wants to make the most of their bedtime routine?
That's a great question, Emma. The best choice is always simple, slow, and familiar English. Listen to common daily conversations, easy vocabulary, short stories, or basic English sentences that you've already practiced during the day. Because your brain has already been introduced to the material, listening to it again helps reinforce your familiarity with the sounds and rhythm of English. The goal isn't to memorize hundreds of new words overnight. It's to strengthen what you've already learned in a calm and relaxing way.
I also think the environment matters. Before you go to sleep, turn off unnecessary distractions, lower the volume to a comfortable level, and allow yourself to relax. Don't force yourself to concentrate on every sentence. Simply listen naturally and let English become part of your evening routine. This creates a peaceful learning experience instead of turning bedtime into another stressful study session.
Exactly. Another useful tip is to use audio that has clear pronunciation, natural pauses, and everyday expressions. Repeating the same playlist for several nights is actually a good idea because repetition helps you become more familiar with common words and sentence patterns. Many learners think they need new lessons every day, but reviewing the same useful material several times is often much more effective than constantly switching to something new.
So, if you really want to improve your English, remember this simple formula. Study actively during the day, review with easy listening before bed, and stay consistent every night. Small daily habits may not seem exciting at first, but over time, they can make a remarkable difference in your confidence, your listening skills, and your overall comfort with the English language. Now let's make today's discussion even more practical. Many people ask, what should I actually do every night if I want to improve my English? The good news is that you don't need to study for 3 or 4 hours. In fact, a simple and consistent routine is often much more effective than studying for a long time once a week. Alex, could you share a bedtime routine that our listeners can easily follow every single day?
Of course, Emma. Here's a simple routine that almost anyone can follow. First, spend about 15 to 20 minutes actively studying English before bedtime. Read a short article, learn 5 to 10 new words, or practice a few common daily sentences. Then, spend another 10 minutes speaking those sentences aloud. Don't worry if your pronunciation isn't perfect. The important thing is to train your mouth to produce English sounds with confidence. Finally, when you're ready to sleep, play slow and clear English listening audio at a comfortable volume and simply relax.
I really like that routine because it combines active learning with passive listening. You're not depending on sleep alone to improve your English. Instead, you're preparing your brain with focused practice and then surrounding yourself with English in a calm and natural way before falling asleep. That sounds much more realistic and much more effective for long-term progress.
Exactly. Another important tip is to be patient with yourself. Many learners expect dramatic results after just 1 or 2 nights, but language learning doesn't work that way. Improvement comes from repeating small, positive habits over weeks and months. Every night you stay consistent, you're building stronger listening skills, greater familiarity with English, and more confidence in your ability to understand the language.
And perhaps the most important lesson is this: don't look for a miracle. Build a habit. A daily routine that you can follow comfortably is far more valuable than an unrealistic plan that you give up after a few days. Stay consistent, enjoy the process, and remember that every small step brings you closer to speaking English with confidence and ease.
Before we finish today's episode, let's talk about some of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to learn English while sleeping. Alex, I think many learners have unrealistic expectations because they see catchy videos online with titles that promise fluency overnight. While those titles are exciting, they can also create false hopes. What are some common mistakes that our listeners should avoid if they want to make real progress?
That's an excellent point, Emma. The first mistake is believing that listening during sleep can replace active learning. It simply can't. If you never practice speaking, reading, writing, or listening while you're awake, your progress will be very limited. Sleep listening should be viewed as a helpful supplement to a complete learning routine, not as the main method of learning English.
Exactly. One more mistake is constantly changing learning materials every single day. Many people think they need a brand new lesson every night, but repetition is actually one of the most effective ways to improve. Listening to the same useful sentences, vocabulary, and short conversations for several nights helps you become much more familiar with the language and strengthens your listening confidence over time.
So, if you really want to benefit from listening to English before or during sleep, remember these simple rules. Practice actively during the day, choose easy and familiar audio, stay consistent, and be patient with your progress. There are no magic shortcuts to fluency, but there are smart habits that can make your English journey easier, more enjoyable, and much more successful in the long run. As we come to the end of today's episode, let's remember the most important message. Learning English while sleeping is not about becoming fluent overnight. Instead, it is about creating a smart daily habit that keeps you connected with English even when you are relaxing. If you combine active practice during the day with calm and simple English listening before bedtime, you are giving yourself more opportunities to hear the language, become familiar with common expressions, and build your confidence little by little. Always remember that fluency is not achieved in a single night. It is built through small, consistent efforts that you repeat every day.
Exactly, Emma. Every successful English speaker started as a beginner. The difference is that they never stop practicing. Don't worry if your progress feels slow, because every new word you learn, every sentence you speak, and every minute you spend listening to English is moving you one step closer to your goal. Be patient with yourself, enjoy the learning process, and celebrate every small improvement along the way. Consistency will always beat perfection.
We hope today's conversation has inspired you to create a healthy English learning routine and to use bedtime listening as a helpful part of that routine. Try listening to simple English audio tonight, continue practicing tomorrow, and keep believing in yourself, because every single day is another chance to become a better English speaker.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. If you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful, please support Modern English Talk by giving this video a thumbs up, sharing it with your friends and family, and subscribing to the channel for more practical English learning podcasts every week.
Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next episode. Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, stay consistent, and most importantly, never stop believing in your ability to speak English confidently.
Thank you for listening to Modern English Talk. Have a wonderful day, sleep well, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.